Sharon Jackson.
Sharon, it's nice to meet you. How are you doing today?
Very well, thank you. Yourself?
I'm good, thanks for asking. What brings you out here today?
A couple of things. I'm a Park Service volunteer, and I have actually worked at the Council House, volunteered there. I'm also a volunteer at the Frederick Douglass House.
And you're just here for support, or is there
Yes, I'm going to be helping them out with part of the programming today.
Okay, and what part of the program is it?
I am going to help them out with the walks that are part of describing what how the area around this park has changed over the years.
Okay. And could you tell me a little more about those walks?
Okay. Well, I'll tell you kind of basically the history of the park and how it relates. Lincoln Park, as it came to be known, was actually a part of the original L'Enfant design of the city. And they were originally intending that this park be the marker for the 0 point for where they would measure distances in the country. And ultimately, it was not used for that purpose. For whatever reason, and I'm not sure about it, apparently they just started using it as a dumping ground. But when the Civil War came along, they actually located some of the hospitals for the soldiers here. And I understand they had several large pavilions and tents where they were treating the wounded. And then after the war and after President Lincoln died, it was decided that to make the park something of a memorial to President Lincoln, because it was called, I guess, Lincoln Hospital at the time that it was used as being a hospital. And so the first donation that funded the statue that is behind me was actually made by a formerly enslaved woman. She donated $5. And ultimately they ended up raising about $20,000 for the construction of the statue. And in 1874, on April 14th of 1874, they had a big celebration, and that was a significant date because it was the 11th anniversary of when President Lincoln was assassinated. So they had a parade that started at the Capitol that ended up here. It included a number of the African-American military units. Frederick Douglass was a keynote speaker. John Mercer Langston, who ultimately became one of the representatives in the Congress and was actually the first African-American representative elected to the Congress to represent Virginia, was the Master of Ceremonies. President Grant attended, and they had a big ceremony to unveil the statue and celebrate Lincoln's memory. And one of the things that Frederick Douglass said at the time was that the park seemed to be large enough to hold a second memorial. And he also said that one thing that he wanted was that there would be a memorial for African Americans somewhere in the city. Well, when Mary McLeod Bethune died in 1955, the National Council of Negro Women started to think about, how they wanted to honor her, and someone came up with the idea that this would be a good venue to have a statue of Mary McLeod Bethune. So that was where the idea originated, and of course there was a lot of work, a lot of political work that needed to be done before they could get permission to place this Bethune statue here, and that was spearheaded by the NCNW, and they got the permission to place the statue here, and they began their fundraising effort to create the statue. The artist that was chosen to sculpt the statue was a very prominent artist of the day. In addition to the Bethune statue, he sculpted the head of John F. Kennedy that sits in the John F. Kennedy Center for the Arts downtown, and he also sculpted another significant statue here in Washington, and that was the statue of Albert Einstein that sits outside of the National Academy of Sciences, just near the Roosevelt Bridge, headed into Virginia. So I've always considered myself a student of history, and I've always been interested in volunteering. I've been a long-time volunteer for the National Park Service, starting out at the Frederick Douglass National Site. And again, I'm here to help out to celebrate this auspicious occasion. Well, I was here for the initial one. As a very young person, my family was a family that was very familiar with Mary McLeod Bethune. I have my family's originally from Florida, and also the place where the Mary McLeod Bethune-Cookman College was founded. And they've always been very interested in the work of Mary McLeod Bethune. And so they made sure I had a bunch of my older relatives come up, and so we all came out at the original dedication. So it's a touchstones for me in that sense, as well as being a volunteer for the Park Service at 2 of its National Historic Sites.
Is there anything that you would like to add about today or the statue itself that I haven't asked you about?
I think it's a wonderful thing that we are celebrating this. I think Dr. Bethune would be very proud, and it means a lot to me, her legacy, represented by the statue. So all of those things are just very important to me.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be here.
Okay, thank you, and have a great day.